The ways in which this person sees themselves is changing on a daily basis by the sheer fact of what they take away from the experience of seeing themselves as an emanation of love, which radiates in the honesty that they are picking up from within your eyes. With this energy of Caradwin and transformation, you are redefining what it means to feel safe within another person's presence, what it means to step away from past disappointments and to gather the strength of having endured certain things with the courage to move forth towards hope rather than roll over into defeat. That is allowing this person to see the experience with you, not just as a new opportunity to get things right, but as the story they were always meant to align with in terms of love and partnership and in terms of a renewed relationship with themselves. This feels like somebody who abandoned a part of themselves a long time ago. They were trained to abandon that by people in their lives that had abandoned them, had rejected them, people who didn't have the capacity to love themselves and therefore could only project loathing and toxicity onto this person that they simply absorbed within themselves and took on as the script of self-talk that had influenced the nature of who and what they allowed into their life for a very long time. This is someone that harbored a lot of blame towards themselves for wounds that they had sustained through their own choices, through overlooking red flags in past situations and times where they were bamboozled by others. And they had just chalked that up to them being broken beyond the point of repair, unlovable, a lost soul beyond redemption. And you have come into their life and you have shaken them out of that stupor. You have awakened this person, and they are starting to find value and meaning, not just in the experience that someone like you would be so open and welcoming to someone like them, but also in the ways in which this experience with you is having such a positive effect without them even trying, on coming home very deeply to reclaiming aspects within themselves and being able to separate the fact that they are not as broken as they have been led to believe by others or through their past actions, and that whatever the wreckage of the past has looked like, that is not something which has sealed their fate for the future. We also have Nyx, darkness. So this is the energy of the infinite, the creative void, the primordial womb. This person sees that there is a renewed aspect of themselves that is being rebirthed the more and more that they are spending time in your company, the more that they are exploring their own fears as far as love is concerned, the more they are gathering their strength from within and the willingness and determination to keep showing up on the days when they feel strong and the days when they feel they can do no more than simply stand by and hold space inside of themselves until they wait for that bravery of love to move forth towards you in a more obvious or dominant way to take over. You have introduced this person to an aspect where it is not just the light component of them, but it is also the shadow face which is adored. And so this is something which it feels like, again, is helping them to create unity within themselves, balance within themselves, acceptance within themselves, so that they are not just here at this precipice with you, getting ready to embark on a beautiful new experience of love, but this is also the precipice of a different sort of relationship for themselves. Prioritizing their own peace, not in a way that involves toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing and avoidance, but in the ways in which you almost instinctually are holding space for one another to sift through that darkness, to reconcile it inside, those fears, those insecurities, those wounds, and to not take those as limitations or barriers that prohibit the two of you from the experience of something beautiful, but instead as something that can be utilized as a framework of infinite potential. There are infinite ways in order to build in a better direction beyond disrepair, to build in a better direction beyond untruths that have been taken within as gospel and have informed certain choices or avoidances based on things that were never accurate as far as the quality of love that this person has to give, or the quality of person that they are, despite mistakes they might have made in the past with other partners or in their life in general. You're giving this person a sense that there is time for hope. There is time for renewal. There is time for a fresh start. There is time for something so magnificent that they couldn't have dreamed up single-handedly. And so it has required this corresponding and complementary force in the form of you to come into their life, not just as a light in that darkness, but in the ways in which you are able to blend and become shadow in and of yourself as well, so that the two of you are simply merging within that space of the primordial womb, the creative void, the mystery, and to emerge beyond that as more informed and self-aware versions of yourselves, which this person is seeing is allowing them to meet you at a deeper level as far as what they are giving and what they are receiving in love and romance, and also in the ways in which they are able to in turn kind of like give and receive that more authentically or richly to themselves as well. We also have Oshun, self-love. So you have modeled for this person what it means to take ownership and accountability of one's past and to consciously choose to move and evolve beyond that, regardless of if they know what your history is in romance that has kind of like led you to this point in time. There is a sense that kind of like you wear your wounds with pride. You have not let your scars stop you. You've taken your licks, and you've moved forward with your head held high. And this is very inspirational to this person because they see that the value of the love that you have to give is very strong. It's better than most people because it is something that perhaps that love of self was all that you had at certain times in your life, or it is kind of the fire that remained after everything else was burned away from your reality, or wreckage was created and you had to pull yourself out of that. This person is very aware of the fact that to be in your presence, to be in this emotional experience with you, to have this exchange with you at this point in their life and at this point in your life, that this is no small feat. This person may sense that you've got very high walls, your guard is up, you don't let people in easily, and they don't see that as something that is an example of like a flaw or somebody that is avoidant, needs to work on some things emotionally. There's a sense that this person has a lot of respect for you in the ways in which you have needed to strengthen yourself in the aftermath of likely times in your life where people just had easy access, in and out privileges, taking more than they were giving, leaving behind wreckage when you were giving, sustaining life force energy. You were leaving people better than you found them. And in the process, having to sort of look at what had been parceled out from you and to try to make do with what remained and to, multiply that or enhance that in whatever ways that you could. That this is something which is recognized by this person in the way that you carry yourself, your level of self-respect, the company you keep. You may have a very small circle at this time, or you hold yourself to a high standard and really demand that of others. This person may have witnessed you cutting people out of your life or circumstances out of your life that were not matching what was that higher vibration, healthy exchanges and experiences, people and situations that were valuing you, that were respecting you, that were honoring you, that you might have healed like a people pleaser wound or something where you were always just kind of like over giving to others from a very loving place, but at a loss to yourself ultimately. And so this person recognizes that, the love you have to give carries a degree of nobility with it. That it is something others must earn because it is something you have earned within yourself. You have reclaimed that power. You have enhanced the value of that, not from an egotistical place, not from the attitude of thinking that you're better than everyone else, but as the sheer measure of whatever the nature of struggle that you went through in your past to come to this version of you, to survive your life this long, and in this way, that you are now, as this person recognizes, even if you feel at times that you're still struggling, you're still trying to kind of self-create or build that best life, this person sees you as thriving. You're thriving in the midst of now. And this is something that it feels like they appreciate the fact that it is a gift, that you have opened yourself up to them. This is not an experience that they take lightly. This is something where this person is very mindful and very conscientious at this time, very careful with their steps, not because they're walking on eggshells or afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing, but because they almost want to make sure that they leave no stone unturned in terms of needs, wants, and desires you may have that others had failed to sort of recognize, appreciate, be sensitive to, or provide for in the past, that it's almost kind of like you seem to be the type of person that can self-sustain. You can fill your own cup. You don't need anybody else. So this person really feels like to give to you, like, what could I give to this situation that would establish me as somebody that is just kind of like a warm body standing next to this person, or somebody they have a good time with, or somebody that is kind of like, okay, now I have someone to call my own. This person is wanting to sort of fill up emotional voids or spaces within you that you might not have been able to reach on your own, or things that you had healed, that you had kind of closed up from, or had detached from the expectation of, or had overlooked as even things that were missing before, that this person is trying to, sort of detect within your energy, within the experiences with you, kind of looking at the points within that are triggers, that are when you close off, not as a way to kind of like map you out to manipulate you, but as a way to kind of map out the terrain of like, this is where you need love the most. This is where I feel I could be generous to you, because it is a sore spot within. So obviously someone was unkind to you there. So this is somebody that it feels like wants to show to you at this point in time that whatever has kind of prompted you to go on this voyage of self-love, of healing, your glow up, raising your standards, becoming this current version of you, that was not just an experience that was supposed to sort of like better you, but that there truly is a higher level love that exists on that timeline, and that this person is not just going to want to be somebody that is like a hanger-oner, kind of siphoning off your energy, sort of like hiding within your light to avoid their own shadow, or to, kind of benefit from the abundance of light and love that just radiates so honestly and so effortlessly and still so generously from you, even with your high walls and your sharp discernment. But this is somebody that wants to kind of meet you on that frequency and give in a way that they are very certain you have never been poured into before by another person, romantically speaking. We also have Artemis, independence. Yeah, so this person loves the fact that you are very self-motivated. You've taken charge of your life. Your energy speaks of personal authority within. This person understands that you are not someone that is at a point in your life where you're going to entertain games. You're not at a point in your life where, you're starving to have somebody near you, romantically speaking, so you'll just settle for whoever, the first person that comes along. This is something where this person understands that, you may have had a lot of kind of like lonely nights, but there is a strength that has been built within that. So the idea of coming in closer to you, stepping forth into the next experience with one another, this person sees that this is an open door for the two of you to have an experience of a very empowered love story. something where it's not just kind of like, okay, here's another chance to get things right with somebody because I didn't get it right with other people, but I then went and got it right with myself. I became that love that I was seeking, and now here's the opportunity to step forth. The best foot forward is two empowered people moving hand in hand towards the future in a way that kind of the brightness of love becomes something so much more luminous than past versions of yourselves were even able to perceive was possible, knew that they were worthy and deserving of, or, based on kind of the things that you were entertaining in your lives, or certain karmic lessons you needed to go through, wounds that had to be sustained and then healed. You might not have been the versions of yourselves that could have held this kind of experience energetically or actually. If you'd come into one another's lives sooner, you might have messed things up. And this person is seeing that, like, now you are the versions of yourselves that are good caretakers of an experience such as this. So this is somebody that wants to honor that, the sacredness within this moment and every moment with you. This is somebody that wants to honor this version of you without kind of needing the explanation of the roadmap that brought you to this place. This is somebody that sees that you have fought some battles. This is a hard-won victory to reach this version of you. And they are honored that you are sharing that light with them, that you are looking towards them with an openness of heart, or at least an openness of mind, so that they can come towards you and display very openly what it is that their intentions are, what it is that they are bringing to the table emotionally and actually, and the ways in which they are able to and interested in kind of like getting to know the storms inside of you as well as the peace, and the ways in which, they can kind of correspondingly share with you aspects of them as well in that capacity, so that the partnership that they would like to forge with you is something which is not just kind of, we avoid the places that are uncomfortable within, but we are, self-honoring in those capacities as it is, and are therefore able to meet one another, lean in deeply to one another, and raise one another up into a place where the work that we have done to course correct from those untrue narratives that toxic, unhealed, karmic people or broken situations or versions of self in the past had templated into the subconscious, as far as this is who you are, this is what you're worthy of and deserving of, and therefore what you shall experience in terms of disappointments, bitterness, heartbreak, loss, as opposed to abundance, joy, peace, and serenity. This is somebody who has flipped the script on that. They flipped that table. They burned that contract up, and they have written a whole new narrative for themselves, with themselves as the main character, the star of the show. And they see you as somebody that is that perfect complement that can meet them on that similar level. And that together this is something that can redefine those kind of like subtle whispers within that may bring forth kind of moments of doubt or insecurity, as they are standing in the radiance of you, this empowered being in front of them here and now, and working to sustain that belief that yes, they've called you into their life at this time for a reason, as you have with them, and that together you can move forward and enjoy the experience of love and partnership as it should be, in a unified sense, a love which heals, a love which uplifts, a love which creates both people becoming better than they were before they encountered one another, and not parting ways and leaving wreckage behind. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.